Hello, it is August 27th and it is 11:27 p.m. So basically right now the thing that I really wanted to make this video about is the fact that about Kashi Ferozvi. The thing that we have to really understand is the fact that in courtrooms things do not go by what people's words say, since if we have complete and total facts and evidence clearly showing and proving through facts and evidence is the fact that the thing that the person is saying is complete and total lie and falsehood. Now, the thing that I'm really referring to is the fact that Kashi Ferozvi was basically encouraged and recruited by Miss Hopkins, who was my English teacher, and she was a predator. She was a money predator, and she was a sex predator. She made all kinds of bad accusations against me, saying that I hated Jewish people or things of that sort of nature, when in fact the facts and evidences clearly prove that the fact that that I had already talking to my mother about her before, before, and my mother said that she would love to have a Jewish wife for me, and that she would welcome that person with open arms. And not only that, there are my loved ones who are also all Jew. Most of them are Jewish, mainly due to which I have so much Jewish support. Not only that, the facts and evidence clearly prove from my brain scanner being attached to my brain that I would meet people of Jewish descent who were Orthodox Jewish people much more nicely and with much more love and respect than normal people, knowing that they were dressed up differently and that they could go through racism. The facts and evidences clearly go against what Miss Hopkins was trying to claim about me. Yes. So basically, yeah, that is what happened. Now, what ended up happening was I did not go with Miss Hopkins due to her bad behavior. Not behavior, it was just weird things, like she would go sleep around, like she would do things that I'm not like into, like I don't know. Kelly told me okay, I hated it. She was just not my type of person. Like Kelly told me that she would go and sleep with men, and then she would eat their poop and stuff like that, and that it would look like a episode of Fear Factor and things of that sort of nature. I was just not ready for like an older woman, and these kinds of things are just not me. I didn't want to do it, so I just told her I don't want to do it. So yes, yeah, so the thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that Miss Hopkins went ahead and she went and started sleeping with Kasia Ferozvi, and then she recruited Kasia Ferozvi to go and make a false testimony against me. The thing that the courts have to understand is the fact that from day one, when Kasia Ferozvi went into this trial in this court to actually go ahead and start narrating and making false testimonies against me, the false testimony, Kasia Ferozvi, the words that Kasia Ferozvi used had the words, "This false testimony has been written by Miss Hopkins," written all over it. First of all, fact of the matter is, Kasia Ferozvi and Miss Hopkins were planning a false testimony to be made against me. The only problem was that false testimony, it could not, go through, mainly due to the fact that it had no source of info. The problem with Miss Hopkins and Kasia Ferozvi is the fact that the narrator in the trial, Ibrahim, the greedy framer, ended up getting a kidney failure after all the lies he made against me. After he gets a kidney failure, what ends up happening is Miss Hopkins has to hurry up. She texts Kasia Ferozvi and says, "Please go do something about this trial, or else his brain savant's going to get freed, and all that money is going to go to some other woman." Kasia Ferozvi then tries to become a hero. He goes over to this trial and starts basically narrating in this trial for her. Now, the thing about it is, from day one, their entire game plan was to make a false testimony against me. The only problem was now they had to make it prematurely. The other problem with this, the main problem with this was, in order for the false testimony to be made, they had to go get Kelly from law enforcement to go sleep with Junaid, and tell him, whisper in his ears, exactly what the fabrication material was supposed to be. The only problem with this was the fact that, for one, Kelly did not want to go sleep with Junaid, and the other problem was the fact that Junaid every single day, well, yes, and so it did not happen yet, due to which their entire game plan of framing me was delayed. Now, in that delay, obviously, news traveled, and I found out that they were trying to frame me, and so what ended up happening was, Miss Hopkins and Kasia Ferozvi ended up getting caught at the last moment before they could get a source of info. The source of info was supposed to be Junaid. He was supposed to claim that he heard my sister say to him that that I committed some sort of a crime. And now this is the part that you have to listen to. The crime would have occurred right when I took off from school when I was in high school. So you know who fabricated this false testimony? It was Miss Hopkins. It's got her name written all over it. So basically, the fabrication material could not go to Junaid because Kelly from law enforcement was refusing to go sleep with Junaid, and we know for a fact that Junaid did not get the fabrication material, due to which he cannot have this epiphany right now, claiming that he knows about a crime that I committed that my sister told him about, mainly due to the fact that Kelly refused to go sleep with him. She delayed it, due to which they all got caught. Yes, so that is what happened. We know for a fact Junaid did not get any fabrication materials from anyone, due to the fact that he has been begging Miss Deb, who is his mother's age, to sleep with him, due to which today Miss Deb's son, or yesterday, Miss Deb's son, who is a police officer, had to call Junaid, who is, her son is actually Junaid's age. He's a police officer. He had to call Junaid and ask him to stop asking his mother to sleep with him. So basically, so we know for a fact that Junaid did not sleep with anyone who could have given him the fabrication material. If he's begging someone his mother's age to sleep with him, obviously he did not receive the fabrication material yet, and so he cannot have his epiphany right now. And so if he has his epiphany after he sleeps with someone, well, we will know we're not that stupid, since we already know about the entire plan that they had to try to frame me. But you have to understand the fact that the entire game plan was in play, and the very first thing that Kashi Ferozvi came in and said was that you have to look at the fact that Ehsan took off from school for this many days when he was in high school. Now, that game plan for trying to frame me has the words, this entire framing plan has been written by Miss Hopkins, written all over it. There was only one person who could have known about it. That was Miss Hopkins. She was the school teacher at that school. So she made the entire game plan to try to frame me, using the one thing that she knew about me was that I took off from school for this many days while I was in high school. Now, this game plan of trying to frame me has the words, Miss Hopkins wrote this, written all over it. Now, Kashi Ferozvi might try to claim that, oh no, this person told me about him and what happened at the school, or that person told me, but that does not matter, mainly due to the fact that, for one, there's no record of me ever texting Kashi Ferozvi, talking to him on the phone, or talking to him in person when that happened. The other thing is the fact that we have it on record, Kashi Ferozvi and Miss Hopkins discussing framing me through that game plan framing story, which they knew was false. Due to these two reasons, the first reason being I never texted, talked to, or called Kashi Ferozvi, or talked to him in person, or texted him during that time period when I took off from school. Obviously, Kashi Ferozvi was not my school teacher, so he wouldn't know. The reason that we know that this was, that even if Kashi Ferozvi claims that, oh no, this person told me about Ehsan taking off from school, or that the person told me, obviously it would be false, but it would mainly be false for the second main reason, due to the fact that we have Kashi Ferozvi and Miss Hopkins discussing in person, trying to frame me through this framing fabrication method. Now, the thing that we have to remember in this trial is the fact that this was a complete and total plan to try and frame me by Kashi Ferozvi and Miss Hopkins. Completed all the way, and it was in the last stages of it being fulfilled. The reason we know this is because they were trying to recruit Kelly from law enforcement to go and sleep with Junaid, and Kelly from law enforcement did not wish to go sleep with Junaid, which delayed their entire plan, and the news traveled over until it got to me, and now their entire plan has been foiled. So, yes, basically, their entire plan has been completely foiled, but we know for a fact that this plan was in motion, due to the fact that the first thing that Kashi Ferozvi said as soon as he came into the trial, in the court, is he said, Ehsan took this many days off from school at one time. The thing that has to be asked to Kashi Ferozvi is, Kashi Ferozvi, were you Ehsan's school teacher? No. Did you talk to Ehsan during that time period? No. Did you ever text him? No. Did you call him? No. Did you talk to him on the phone? No. Then how do you know? Were you a school teacher? No. So obviously, the entire plan was concocted by Miss Hopkins, who was my school teacher and whom I rejected because I didn't want to go with her, mainly because a lot of reasons. She was older woman. She did weird things like eat men's poop and stuff like that that Kelly told me about. And Kelly also said that it was like watching an episode of Fear Factor, watching Miss Hopkins have sex because she liked eating men's poop and stuff like that. So obviously, after hearing all of that, I didn't want to go with Miss Hopkins. Obviously not. And so what ended up happening was, I just told her like I'm not into these things. I don't do these things. Like it's a little weird for me. It's a little too hardcore for me. I'm good, really. So what ended up happening was I just told the honest truth. What happened? So what ended up happening was what was I gonna say? They made me forget. Yes. So what ended up happening was yes. So Kasha Ferozvi goes into that trial in court and he starts saying the words, Ehsan missed this many days from high school at one time. You have to understand the fact that Kasha Ferozvi is putting his gameplay into motion to make that framing, fabrication, false testimony against me by narrating, starting with the fact that I missed that many days from school. Why would Kasha Ferozvi do this? Mainly due to the fact that he wanted to get to the conclusion that because I missed this many days from school, my main motive for missing this many days from school was to sit at home and commit a crime. Obviously, this is the plan that Miss Hopkins would make since she was the school teacher at that school and she knew about it and she wanted to use that to try. That's the only thing she knew about me in order to try to use it against me to try to make a framing story against me. The only problem was that she had to get Junaid as a source since Junaid had to claim that my sister told him that I committed this crime when I took off from school. And so, yes, since Junaid couldn't get the fabrication material through Kelly in time, Kelly refused to go sleep with him. Their entire plan got foiled. We know for a fact no one slept with Junaid to tell him about the fabrication material since just today he was begging someone his mother's age, Miss Deb, to sleep with him, and her son, who is a police officer, had to call Junaid and tell him to stop calling his mother to beg her to sleep with him. So yes, that is pretty much what had happened. Now, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that Kasha Ferozvi right now cannot claim that he was not trying to frame me through the story of the school thing, mainly due to the fact that it's no secret that he can claim that, oh, this person told me he missed school, or that person told me he missed school, or this happened or that happened. It's irrelevant who told him or who didn't. Fact of the matter is, this was part of the framing story that Kasha Ferozvi was given by Miss Hopkins to try to narrate against me, to try to narrate this story against me about me missing school as the starting point so that they could get to the end result of me being framed for it, saying, with Junaid saying that, oh, wait a second, I remember Ehsan's sister, and then what was supposed to happen is Kasha Ferozvi keeps talking about how I missed school and this and that, and then all of a sudden Junaid says, oh, wait a second, I just remembered Ehsan's sister told me that he missed school at this time, and so he committed this crime, and so he got really scared. When he got scared after committing this crime, he missed school, and the evidence for this is this thing that his sister told me, and it would be something in detail that could have happened that day. I don't know. Maybe it was Christmas time, and I hit someone's car, and Junaid would have said, Ehsan, right after he committed that crime, he hit his car on someone else, and they bring that evidence over. You see what I'm saying? The entire thing was fully planned out by Miss Hopkins. The only problem was the crime that they were supposed to claim that I committed, that they were trying to frame me for, the details of the fabrication, Kelly was not able to get to Junaid, even though Kelly knew that she was supposed to get those details over to Junaid. She refused to go sleep with him, due to which the entire plan got foiled and everyone found out about it. Now, the thing is, Kasha Ferozvi cannot claim that he was not trying to make this plan go into motion, mainly due to the fact that we have Kasha Ferozvi on record discussing with Miss Hopkins this school plan. Basically, has the words "school teacher made this" framing story written all over it. We have him on the record discussing with my school teacher this school plan of framing me. And then what ended up happening was when Ibrahim the Greedy Framer gets his kidney failure, Miss Hopkins texts Gasha Ferozzi and says, "Can you please go? This person had their kidney failure." So he basically goes over there and he starts narrating. Now, you got to remember the fact that the first thing he starts narrating is the fact that Hassan missed this many days of school. Now, this plan had the words, "It's written by a school teacher," written all over it. Now, Asha Ferozzi, there's no record of me texting him, calling him, talking to him on the in person, so there's no way for him to have known how many days of school I did or did not miss. Only a school teacher would know this. Yes, so that school teacher was Miss Hopkins, and she basically made the entire framing plan. Now, the motive behind it was basically envy and jealousy. Someone else's daughter is getting that brain savant money that I'm not getting. She could claim that it's because I was Jewish or something like that, but that's not true. Fact of the matter is, I had already talked to my mother about it, and she said she'd be more than happy to welcome her. Extreme amount of love is what the words were that my mother used, and I was so happy at that time. But anyways, what ended up happening was, so basically the motive behind Miss Hopkins' entire framing was envy and greed for money. She could not stand someone else's daughter getting the brain savant money that she could not get, obviously. So, yes. And from right now, I also have it from right now. It is I have it right over here. Miss Hopkins was even advertising to me right now as well. It 10:30 p.m. Micah. It was written on that ad right over there. So yes. So basically, yeah. That is pretty much what happened. That is the reason why. And Miss Hopkins right now is still advertising for herself. So basically, Miss Hopkins's main motive was greed and envy for trying to frame me, despite knowing for a fact that if she would succeed in framing me, my brain savant would pretty much get locked out for my entire life. Even though it wouldn't go to any other person's daughter, it would still be wrong, since I would not commit the crime that she was trying to frame me for, and it would be wrong because I would go through all this trouble just because she wasn't able to get the brain savant money. So yes, it was wrong. But the person whom it was mainly wrong for was Gasha Ferozzi, mainly due to the fact that Gasha Ferozzi was working on his lust for sex. Mainly, he wanted a mistress for himself, and due to his lust for sex, he was easily able to be swayed into sleeping with someone and trying to frame me, which is absolutely wrong. We know for a fact that Gasha Ferozzi's main motive was lust for sex, mainly due to the fact that Gasha Ferozzi found out about my brain savant, and now he's been telling me all day and night long that I should help him find more mistresses all day and night long. This is pretty much all he does. All he says is that I should help him find more mistresses. Yeah, so I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. Okay. Hold on one second. So yes. So basically, uh, one second. So basically, what we have over here is right over here. So it started off with fall is it was on August 23rd, 1:42 a.m. That's hour 42 minutes after midnight on August 23rd. What it basically says is fall into extra money with cash kick. It basically said it right, just like that. Okay, thinking of other people's daughters as pretty much just being prostitutes that he is supposed to get me to go encourage to become his mistress, and then he is supposed to pay money to them for this work. And then August 23rd, 8:01 a.m., it says misplay, basically help me play with mistresses. And then August 24th, 1:26 a.m., you have Miss Hopkins trying to make a deal with me, saying a deal with the cat, basically trying to say, you marry me and I tell my boyfriend to back away, which is totally wrong. It's a little too late for that. The very wrong thing for you to try to do to me. Yes. So this is August 24th, 11:20 a.m. And what it basically has is Kalshi trade on anything, basically saying that I should help him trade around his mistresses. August 24th, this is 3:16 a.m. Sorry, p.m. and it is basically saying trade sports right over there. Yes. So trade help me trade mistresses. August 24th, 10:10 a.m. and this is Kalshi trade on anything. Help me trade mistresses. August 24th, almost 4 p.m. on August 26th. Sorry, August 26th, almost 4 p.m. And this is Cash Kick. Same thing. Fall into extra money with Cash Kick. Basically, Gasha Ferozvi wants to pay for these girls like as if they're prostitutes and not other people's daughters. August 26th, 3:44 p.m. That is trade sports. Basically, he wants to trade around his mistresses. August 26th, 1:20 p.m. The sick man would just not quit. Life trade. Best place to life trade. Psycho. August 25th, 3:39 p.m. and that is same thing. Misplay. Help me play around with these mistresses. Then you have yes, August 25th, 3:39 p.m. and that is misplay. It helped me around play with these mistresses. August 24th, 10:10 a.m. Same thing. Kalshi trade on anything. Basically, help me trade around with these mistresses. August 24th, 3:16 p.m. Same thing. Novig. That is trade on these mistresses. So yes, so this just keeps going on, and I'm sure you get the point from this now. This is August 27th. Okay, this is the most recent one, and this is misplay. Help me play around with these mistresses. So yes, so the thing that you have to understand is, so that was August 27th, and today is August 27th, which is why I had to show you that one. It was in the afternoon time. So basically, Gasha Ferozvi's main motive for doing all of this, framing me and trying to frame me, was due to lust for sex. He basically became, he wanted sex from Miss Hopkins, due to which he did all of this, and now he is a sex addict. He wants me to use my brain savant being discussed by artificial intelligence experts in court with the honorable judges of this trial for me to go and scam other people's daughters, basically recruit them for sex with Gasha Ferozvi, and Gasha Ferozvi is then supposed to pay for these girls. If you don't believe me, you can ask law enforcement, since law enforcement put those ads on my phone notepad, basically. So yes, Gasha Ferozvi's motive for trying to frame me was sex. He might try to claim that, oh no, I hadn't framed him yet. He had already started the work. Okay, there is no question about it. All right, he wasn't my school teacher when I took those days off. He didn't know about it. There's no record of me calling him, texting him, talking to him in person, or any way, shape, or form possible. He's gonna say he said this to me, she said this to me, this is how I find out this, that, blah, blah, blah. It's irrelevant. Fact of the matter is, we have him on record discussing with Miss Hopkins, trying to frame me with that story. And then on the first day when Gasha Ferozvi went to trial, he started saying that story right away. The story where he said Hassan missed this many days off from school, mainly getting ready for the main fabrication that was supposed to take place. Gasha Ferozvi was supposed to repeat the story over and over again. Hassan missed this many days of school. Hassan missed this many days of school. And Junaid was supposed to say, oh, hold on a second. Afira told me about this crime he committed, and she told me he had covered over. And then that was right when he missed school. Oh my God! And then he committed the crime, and then he missed school. Basically, that was supposed to be their game plan. What ended up happening was Kelly from law enforcement refused to go sleep with Junaid, due to which their entire game plan got foiled. Now, this plan had the words, Miss Hopkins, the school teacher, wrote this entire framing game plan written all over it, mainly due to the fact that The entire story was based on school, that I missed this many days of school, and because I missed this many days of school, the reason was that I committed a crime. It had the words, a school teacher wrote this framing a story against me written all over it. Okay, so yes, so basically Kashif Rosvi was committing this crime, and he had already started to do so. First thing he said was the Isan missed this many days of school right when he went there. And the thing that you have to ask Kashif Rosvi is, were you a school teacher? No. Did you ever call him, text him, talk to him in person during that time period? No. Who told you? And he'll tell you a story about, this person told me, that person told Isan, and Isan told that person, and this is how I found out. It's irrelevant. We have him on record discussing this plan to try to frame me by this story of the school with Miss Hopkins. So who told him what does not matter. It's irrelevant. This was a plan, a game plan to try to frame me. And on day one, he came up with this story as being pushing forward in this trial till they could recruit Kelly to go sleep with Jeanette and tell him the fabrication material. Who told whom what is irrelevant, considering the fact that we have Kashif Rosvi on record talking to Miss Hopkins about this game plan of framing me through the school story about me missing days of school that a school teacher, Miss Hopkins, basically concocted against me due to me rejecting her and not wanting me to go get married to her and give her my brain salon money. So yes. What ended up happening was, So that's what happened. Now, basically that is what happened. Now, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that, so this was a big crime that Kashif Rosvi committed, national security crime, using national security in the fear of national security occurrences to basically lock up someone's brain savant because of your lust for sex, as the ads clearly showed that he's still begging me to help him play with other mistresses by going over outside and recruiting girls, hearing court chatter about artificial intelligence experts discussing my brain savant being the most rare and profitable in the world, to recruit them to basically have sex with Kashif Rosvi. And in return, Kashif Rosvi is supposed to pay these girls like as if they're some sort of prostitute and not someone's daughter. You got to remember, people, like, if the girl's father would hear that his daughter was paid this much money for sleeping with that person, the father would probably just be like, how much money was it? Because I feel like a total failure to not be able to basically stop this thing from happening to my daughter, who was pretty much looking for a husband who could provide for her, and instead she was paid money for sex. Very sad story. Kashif Rosvi obviously does not put himself in other people's shoes, the girl's father's shoes, or how sad he would feel, or the parents would feel that their daughter is having to do this for money. Yes, people don't do that, obviously, not when they're as lustful as Kashif Rosvi is, as I showed you with those ads all day and night long right now. He's been basically sending me these ads to try to get me to recruit people. This is August 27th. That is today, 11:13 a.m. And it says, misplay, help me play around with these mistresses. August 27th, 9:32 a.m. And it's misplay, help me play around with these mistresses. This is August 27th, 12:02 p.m. I'm only giving the ones from today. And this is misplay, help me play around with these mistresses. Then it is August 27th. That's today at 12:02 p.m. and it is a trade esports. Help me play around with these mistresses assigned. Okay. And then August 26th. All right. So I'll just do one from yesterday. August 26th, 10 a.m. Okay. And it's live trade. Help me trade these mistresses of mine. Basically a sociopath who is obsessed with sex. He's addicted to sex, and he's doing this due to his envy for sex and lust for sex. Basically lust for sex as in sex with Miss Hopkins, who's my English teacher, who wants revenge from me for me not marrying her. Yes, obviously I told the truth about why I couldn't marry her, and my mother said that she would welcome her with open arms despite her religion or whatever it would be. But what ended up happening was, she used to sleep around, and like she would do weird things when she would sleep around, and Kelly from law enforcement would tell me, and I didn't want to do it. Like, it's just not my thing. I don't do these things. So yes, it was a plain, honest truth that I said. Nothing out of the ordinary, just told the truth about why I couldn't go. So yes, so basically yes, that is what happened. Now, Gasha Ferozvi is a sex addict. Okay, he is obsessed with sex. So basically, he wants me. He's doing this for the lust for sex with Miss Hopkins, who's my English teacher, and for the envy for sex. Why does Hassan be able? Why is Hassan able to go run after these girls? Even though I don't do that, it's not my thing. After my brain salon gets freed, obviously I get married and I go home. I don't want any of these girls, and hopefully I will never have to meet any of them. That would be amazing for me because I have someone in mind. Well, anyways, the fact of the matter is, yeah, that's what Gasha Ferozvi is. His main motive is, as you saw from the ads from just today, August 27th. It's filled with his ads to try to get me to go recruit girls to go sleep with him, and he's basically saying I'm gonna pay them money like as if they're prostitutes and not someone's daughters. And yes, and then except for that, you also have So this is mainly his main motive. It's basically sex, the lust for sex, and basically Miss Hopkins using sex as a main motive to try to recruit people like Gasha Ferozvi to do this. Now, we know for a fact Gasha Ferozvi was committing this crime mainly due to the fact that the very first thing that Gasha Ferozvi said on day one was his school. He missed this many days of school, and he was starting to repeat the story over and over again before they could go and get Kelly from law enforcement to go whisper into Junaid's ears that this is supposed to be the fabrication material. He's supposed to have an epiphany all of a sudden. Like, I remember it now. Hassan missed this many days of school. Afir told me about this. He did it because of this crime that he committed. They just couldn't do it because Kelly was refusing to go sleep with Junaid, and she was saying things along the lines of, why doesn't Miss Hopkins go and sleep with him, sort of thing. And due to which the entire plan got foiled, because obviously if you discuss a national security matter where you're trying to frame someone for a national security crime that didn't occur, and you're continuously discussing it with law enforcement that are under investigation for the wedding crime, obviously you're going to get caught. The wedding crime was basically a huge crime that basically people like Sohaib and Assad committed. Shahina Shamim fully committed it as well. And what ended up happening was law enforcement let everyone go, and law enforcement let themselves go too, from that wedding crime. And they all knew that they were committing a crime. They just didn't care, and law enforcement didn't care because law enforcement thought these are people that we could run sex games and money fraud with. Well, the government cared. Let me tell you that much. What ended up happening was even the president got involved, and he would keep telling them, "How about you go investigate this crime?" And they just wouldn't do it. And they would put up a cartoon version of the president on YouTube saying these people don't know what they're doing. What ended up happening was the government just basically gave it to the high-ranking people of like intelligence community, and now like everyone is under investigation and they're all going to go to prison. Mark my words on that, they will all go to prison. And you want to know exactly how big of a magnitude this wedding crime was, all you have to do is look at Kim Jong-un and President Putin's face from the year 2023, where Kim Jong-un comes out of the train looking like, and President Putin just goes, yeah, Brain Savant Kid's definitely dead. And I looked at that video, I put it down, like I was like, Brain Savant Kid's not dead. Law enforcement's dead. And Brain Savant Kid now knows about a crime that law enforcement committed by covering over it. So yes, these people are definitely going to prison. I can guarantee you that much. But obviously, what ended up happening was people in law enforcement who were under investigation for this crime that they obviously committed, Miss Hopkins and Gasha Ferozvi walked right into them, and they got completely caught with their own framing that they were doing. So basically, yes, that is what happened. Now, the thing that I had to talk about in this video was the if question. So a lot of people are going to bring in the if question of what if a crime occurred? Who would be responsible for this crime? The thing about this if question is the fact that First of all, you don't say what if a crime occurred, since there are multiple crimes that have occurred, and we know exactly how these crimes are handled and what would happen if a crime occurred. These kinds of questions are made to exaggerate theoretical scenarios and situation, and to only to try to blame it on me. When in fact, the facts and evidence has clearly prove the fact that not only have I never committed any crimes, never attempted to, never even conspired to do so. Instead, the time when they started to frame me for these crimes started after August 25th, 2023, right after I won my case first time. At that time, it was just I knew exactly what had happened. The fact that they purposely locked up my brain savant because they found out that I had literally the most rare and profitable brain savant in the world. One thing that they knew for a fact was that artificial intelligence told them was that this kid's going to become extremely rich. Like, you have no idea with these kind of powers, and they did not want to hear that from artificial intelligence, because you got to remember, artificial intelligence can speak. It reads data and it talks, due to which they, like, right now, like around August 20th, it was like August 20th, it was like having, I hate to use this language for courtroom, but it was like having butt sex with Kelly from Law Enforcement all day, night long. She was right into my rectum all day long, only due to the fact that around August 20th, the honorable judges of this trial and the artificial intelligence experts came to a conclusion that on August 20th, around 2:25 p.m., that my brain savant was definitely the most rare and profitable in the world, as artificial intelligence had told them, due to which, pretty much, yes, Kelly from Law Enforcement was pretty much right there. Literally, that's how I describe it, due to which I knew exactly what had happened. Now, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that, yeah. So the thing that you have to understand is the fact that the reason that this happened, and the reason she was running after me so much, is mainly due to law enforcement's their stubbornness. Basically, they will not take facts, even though they know what the truth is. So basically, the fact of the matter is, law enforcement knows for a fact that my brain savant's there. And the definition of brain savant is the person with extremely powerful, basically, brain that's thousands of times more powerful than normal human beings can ever imagine. I happen to be the one person with instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, focusing, due to which law enforcement became absolutely obsessed with me. And in mid-May 2023, when they did their test, they became even more envious after finding out that my powers actually increase over time. You might be thinking, Isan, how do you know that they found this out? Because it's my brain. You could tell. Okay. So yeah, that's what they found out. Now, after July 18, they just don't take the truth very well. Due to which, basically, it's undeniable, unarguable, mainly due to the fact that on August 9th, 2022, you literally cannot have any other theories about my brain savant. On August 9th, 2022, I studied for 6 hours. 6 hours with these powers. It was like a third arm came out of my body. Okay, that's pretty much how it was for. And the entire 6 hours, law enforcement were hitting me on my foot right over here to try to threatened me that if you don't stop studying right now, we'll break your foot. I didn't care because I knew they wouldn't. I tested it for 6 hours. So all those theories they have about how it could be possible that might not exist has to be thrown in the trash, mainly due to the fact that I tested it for 6 hours, and their artificial intelligence scanner, brain scanner, saw the data for 6 hours. Now, law enforcement does not like looking at the truth. So obviously, after looking at the truth for literally staring at it for 6 hours, they broke my foot as soon as the plane landed. But obviously, I was walking with a limp, and I came out of the airport saying to myself, "You might have broken my foot, but I know something you don't know." Turned out they actually did know. Okay, They knew it. I just didn't know they knew it. After next year, all these nice women trying to pay for my groceries at Walmart let me know that obviously they obviously knew about it. Then I ran over to Saudi Arabia because Indian visa was taking too long. I was going to go to India because it's cheaper there. Well, anyways, I went to Saudi Arabia. When I came back from there, everyone let me know that pretty much they knew about my brain savant. There was no secret. They gave me a list of girls to choose from, everything. They knew about my brain savant. So basically, yes. After July 18, law enforcement does not like taking the truth really well. What ended up happening was they don't like living in reality. They got the answer from artificial intelligence again after analyzing June 24th, 2 months ago, and artificial intelligence said he has the most profitable brain savant in the world. It's instantaneous photographic memory, innovation focusing, thousands of times more powerful than normal human beings, and it's incredibly rare as well due to the fact that it increases in power over time. Literally no other brain savant in the world right now increases in power over time. So law enforcement obviously did not like that answer, and I told them straight out at that time. I said, look, quitting while you're still ahead is not the same as quitting. It's not in my best interest to say this, but that is true. The more you analyze it, the more you're not going to like the results. I couldn't care less, but just letting you know what the results are going to be like for you. They overanalyze it every single day nonetheless. And artificial intelligence, every day, since it could speak and read data, said the exact same thing every single day. It said, look, his brain savant is literally the most powerful in the world right now, the most profitable one in the world right now. He's got instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, focusing, and yes, it's the most rare one in the world since it increases in power over time. If in the end, like artificial intelligence had emotions, it would have just been like, look, man, that is my answer. If you don't like it, just don't believe me. Then don't overanalyze me all day long, every single day, like it's a suspect in custody. But that's literally what law enforcement did. Now, the thing that happened is, mainly what really ended up happening was just the fact that, yeah, that's what they found out. Now, law enforcement does not like looking at reality. It does not like taking things, the truth that is not true. They did not like taking it. Now, the thing that I had to let everyone know about was mainly due to the fact that law enforcement right now is going to basically they're going to raise the if question, basically saying, what if this happened? What if this person committed a crime? What if that person committed a crime? The fact of the matter is, when looking at the if question, the fact of the matter is, if you don't look at facts and evidences, everyone is a criminal because everyone's past is looked at, and no one's past is looked at. But you have to look at common sense in these questions. You can't just say if someone committed a crime. You have to look at who is likely to commit crimes, and the people that are likely to commit crimes are the people who have committed them in the past. Now, the one thing that we can agree on is the fact that I never committed any crimes, never attempted to do so, never even conspired to commit any crimes. My mother had talked to law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child, letting law enforcement know that at that time she needed me adult supervised by anyone willing to do so, and those people would be law enforcement's own BFFs like Uncle Joey, that law enforcement's been BFFs with since 2001 around their sex schemes and money fraud with, and that it would only be temporarily daily, only until I would gain the slightest bit of mental maturity. The other thing is, except for the one piece of good evidence, the fact that my mother would never be around when I'd be adult supervised, clearly proven from facts and evidence is that I was being adult supervised, or else my mother would be there, at least in one instance, but obviously not. The other fact is the fact that I was signed up at the PAL Center. The PAL Center was basically designed by police officers to make sure, basically a worker charity for a daycare center, basically. You put your child over here, we'll watch them for free. We'll put one police officer at the PAL Center at all times. That way someone's watching the children, and that way you get single mothers working in fast food restaurants would get a free place for a daycare center. So I was signed up at the PAL Center. My mother's not going to go there to sign me up at the PAL Center 27 years ago when I was a 9-year-old child just for fun, unless she really needed the charity of daycare. She's not going to sign me up there, obviously. So that's evidence number two. Evidence number one, obviously, was the fact that my mother would never be present there when I'd be adult supervised. Now, moving on, the thing about it is, if anyone did say anything even remotely considered bad around me, it would be one of law enforcement's own BFFs that they run sex schemes and money fraud with since 2001, like Uncle Joey, whose in-laws law enforcement's been running money fraud, sex schemes and money fraud with since 2001, due to which law enforcement has to provide Uncle Joey with governor's protocol that would envy a sitting governor, even till this very day today. In reciprocal, that's how favors work. You provide us with sex, we'll give you everything we can. Same thing with Gasha Ferozvi. He said to Miss Hopkins, you provide me with sex, in return I'm going to make sure that I'll help you get revenge on Hassan by locking up his brain savant so he can't marry anyone else's daughter if he's not marrying you. So that's how it works, and that's how it worked with law enfortement and Uncle Joey as well. And so yes, now you have to look at the people who are liable, who are most likely to be committing crimes. So first thing that you have to look at is the fact that even if, no matter what Uncle Joey could have said around me when I was a child being adult supervised, it would never constitute a crime or any of law enforcement's BFFs. Obviously, when I was a child, it was 2001. I was an 11-year-old child being adult supervised, and my mother obviously would not be there, and I was signed up at the PAL Center so I could get adult supervision at other times when my mother would need it. Yes, so all the evidence is there. Law enforcement was there. All the evidence is there. So if Uncle Joey did say anything even remotely considered bad around me when I was an 11-year-old child being adult supervised, it would only be blame and it would not be a crime, mainly due to the fact that he wouldn't be, doing anything bad. So if he's going on CNN.com or watching it on TV or going on any website online that would not be a terrorist website, it would still, and he would look at it like CNN.com or any other website that would not be a terrorist website, and he'd be like, I'm so glad these people died in that country in 2001. I never agreed with them being there in the first place, or something around that lines. It would carry blame for sure. It would not be a crime. Now, there are certain things you have to remember. Fact number one, my mother's never been heard uttering one word considered bad her entire life. She's been watched 24/7 along with me since I was an 11-year-old child. The fact number two, my mother made a promise to law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child, letting them know that the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity, I would never be need adult supervision anymore, and I would never be seen in any settings where anything remotely considered bad could be said around me ever again. When I did become slightly mentally mature, I was never seen in any settings where anything even remotely considered bad was ever said around me ever again. And you also have to remember the fact that you also have to remember the fact that I was never seen in any settings where anything even remotely considered bad was ever said around me ever again after I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child. So these facts and evidences have to be considered. Now, my mother was obviously not there when I was being adult supervised by one of law enforcement's own BFFs like Uncle Joey. Now, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that they're not letting me talk. It's the fact that while I was being adult supervised, obviously my mother would not be present there, since that is the entire point of someone being adult supervised. So anything that Uncle Joey could have said would never constitute a crime, but it would definitely carry blame. The blame would go on Uncle Joey, along with any of the adults who knew about it. Obviously, the adult would not be my mother, since the entire point of me being adult supervised is that my mother is at work. Who would the adults be? I can guarantee you, obviously, the adults would be people in law enforcement who knew about it, could not care less, only cared about their own sex schemes and money fraud. That was about it. So yes, and after I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity, I was never adult supervised by anyone ever again. And I only lived with my mother my entire life, never lived with anyone, including my dad, the greedy framer, never even lived in the same country with him, never talked to him on the phone, making it impossible for him to have had any influence or effect on my life or environment whatsoever. So yes, that is what had happened. Now, the thing that you have to remember is the fact that even when I was overseas, I was under my mother's custody. She was paying for my basic necessities like food, transportation, clothing, exam fees, etc., photo state shop, getting copied, everything. So now, the thing that you have to really understand is the fact that I have never been in a crime scene. No one has ever committed any crimes around me. No one has ever attempted to commit any crimes around me. No one ever conspire to commit any crimes around me, nothing of that sort of nature. Now, the thing that you have to understand is the fact that I am fully clear of this. And never has anything of this sort nature ever occurred around me where there was a crime, attempted crime, or conspiracy to commit any crimes ever in my entire life. Now, even if Uncle Joey did say anything even remotely considered bad around me when the war occurred in 2001 when I was an 11-year-old child, it would only be saying and not doing. And it would only be saying and not doing. Let's say he read CNN or any other website that was that was not a terrorist website. He would have read it. He would have said, "I'm so glad these people died overseas in 2001 because I didn't agree with them being there." Let's say he said that. Okay, it would be bad that he said that. It wouldn't be a crime, but it would definitely be bad that he said that. It would carry blame. Who would it carry blame with? Uncle Joey and people that knew about it in law enforcement didn't care about a thing except for running sex schemes and money fraud with Uncle Joey and providing him with governor's protocol. Never cared a thing about anything except for doing that. Getting sex schemes from Uncle Joey's in-laws and providing it in reciprocal for him and his in-laws, basically, is what law enforcement basically did. They couldn't care less about anything else. Now, you have to understand the fact that my mother's never been heard uttering one word considered bad since she was being watched with me since I was an 11-year-old child. And after I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I've never even remotely been in a setting where anything even remotely considered bad could have been said around me ever again, mainly due to the fact that these free places of adult supervision, free daycares basically, were no longer needed. Now, the other free daycare that I had was the PAL Center. If someone said something bad around me at the PAL Center and I was just a child, would that be my fault as a child? I don't think so. It would be that person's fault. And anyone else who knew about it, since I was just a child being adult supervised, it wouldn't be my fault. Obviously, PAL Center was amazing and they were excellent people. No one ever said anything bad around me. But I was just giving an example over there. Okay, so yes. So I've never been in a crime scene. No one has ever committed any crimes around me, attempted to commit any crimes, or conspiracy to commit any crimes, period. Now, anything anyone could have said carried blame, and the blame went to that adult, and people in law enforcement who knew about it did absolutely nothing but run sex schemes and money fraud with those individuals since 2001, like Uncle Joey's in-laws that they ran sex schemes with and provided Uncle Joey with sex scheme ads in return. So yes, now, moving on. The other people. You have to understand the fact that everyone on this trial right now have all committed crimes. Okay, no one is basically free of crimes over here. Let's just put aside my dad, the greedy framer, his framer sister, Farah, the greedy framer, who would be in other videos, and Ibrahim, the greedy framer, who's committed numerous false testimonies against me. Yes, they have, but they've been caught over and over again, and everyone knows about it. You have new players here now who are all lusting after sex and, yes, money and things of that sort of nature. It's a little complicated, but their crimes have to be mentioned. So the first person that I have to talk about is Kashif Firozvi. Kashif Firozvi has basically, you have to understand the fact that when you commit a national security crime or you frame someone for a national security crime, it's the same exact thing. Mainly due to the fact that, except for, let's say someone commits a national security crime to harm someone and someone gets harmed, that person got harmed. But everyone else around that person or in that location is mentally scarred. Are they not? Yes, they are. So if Miss Hopkins concocted a plan saying that I murdered someone at a school due to which I didn't show up for school for this many days, if that was the plan she concocted, and it was believed in and everyone believed it due to it looking so realistic, what ends up happening is obviously everyone who sends their kids to school gets mentally scarred, and they just kind of think like, oh my God, what if there's another Hassan out there who does something to our kids when they go to school, when in fact it wouldn't be true. But due to them framing me for it, and due to them sounding so realistic in their framing technique, what ends up happening is people are mentally scarred. Everyone is just like how they would be if an actual national security threat had occurred. So the effect of of framing someone for a national security crime that Kashif Ferozvi was trying to do, and he had already started to do by putting forward all the talking points, such as Ehsan missed as many days of school, and repeating it over and over again till Junaid was told what the fabrication was supposed to be, and then Junaid said, "Hold on a second, I just had an epiphany right now. I think I remembered. Ehsan, Afir told me, his sister told me that when Ehsan missed this many days of school, it was due to a crime he committed. This is the crime he committed." And so, yes. So basically, since Kashif Ferozvi had already put into motion the entire framing that he was discussing with Ms. Hopkins, where he would keep repeating the words, Ehsan missed this many days of school over and over again. And then obviously one day, Junaid just has an epiphany and says, "Hold on a second, you guys. I just had an epiphany in the courtroom right now." And Junaid goes, Ehsan's sister told me that when Ehsan missed this many days of school, he did it because he committed this crime. I'm so sorry. I just remembered it right now. So Kashif Ferozvi had pretty much started the entire plan that they had concocted together between Kashif Ferozvi and his mistress, Ms. Hopkins, by continuously saying over and over again, Ehsan missed this many days of school, Ehsan missed this many days of school, almost as if he's asking Junaid to say, "Do you remember something, Junaid? Maybe Ehsan's sister told you something," or something of that sort of nature. He might not say, but Junaid one day is supposed to have an epiphany right after sleeping with Kelly, and Junaid goes, "Oh my God, I just remembered. I just had an epiphany right now. Ehsan committed a crime, and his sister told me about it, due to which he ended up missing this many days of school. I'm so sorry I didn't remember it before, you guys. I just remembered it right now." And Junaid would have this epiphany in the courtroom during the trial, due to which, yes, I would be blamed and I would be framed for something that I did not commit. Now, obviously, the entire story revolved around school because it was concocted by a school teacher named Miss Hopkins, who said that the reason I committed this crime was due to me missing out on school this many days. What ended up happening was Ehsan ended up committing a crime due to which he got scared and he missed this many days of school. So obviously the next portion of the plan would have been something like what had really happened was Ehsan murdered someone. He put that person in the closet at a school, and then he got really scared, so he ran home and didn't come back to school. That's what happened. Who knows what the rest of the story was. But let's say that was the story. Now, what ends up happening is they believe in it. And they even find a missing person who went to my school that went missing right when I missed this many days of school. What ends up happening to everyone else? They all get scarred mentally. Everyone who sends their children to school are all scarred mentally. Okay, everyone thinks, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. What if there's another Ehsan out there to murder our kids?" It's basically the effect that an actual national security crime has is the same effect that a framed national security crime has. So a person who has been framed for a national security crime ends up having the same mental health effect on people that an actual national security crime would have. If you don't believe me, look at Governor Josh Green's face on November 27th. Does he look like he's discussing vaccine confusion on that day? No, he's not. He's not discussing vaccine confusion, even though that was what he was supposed to be talking about. But if you look at Governor Josh Green on November 27th, 2025, he's an excellent example of the effect that a fake national security threat to a person like myself being framed for it would have on regular people. Governor Josh Green says, "Confusion is the enemy. We have to get to the bottom of this. We have to get to the bottom of this." And the person on CNN, it was an African-American anchor woman. She looked scared and awkward, like, "Oh my God, you're so right." What does Governor Josh Green say after it's been found out that law enforcement basically fabricated and framed me for that crime? He says, "You're supposed to be helping people, not scaring them." He was basically talking about law enforcement, okay? Because that is true. You're supposed to be helping people, not scaring them. Basically, law enforcement wanted to scare everyone so that they could get an excuse to literally murder me before my brain savant would ever get seen performing out in the open for even 30 minutes, which is why I've been begging the course to just give me a 30-minute test so we can see this brain savant perform out in the open for 30 minutes. At least do it now that law enforcement and me have both agreed to the fact that artificial intelligence is no source of info. Anyways, so basically, yes, So this is all it's about. My brain savant not being seen performing out in the open for 30 minutes. That's all the story is. They will literally murder everyone just to stop my brain savant from being seen performing out in the open for 30 minutes. And I could go to Antarctica and they will do everything to make sure that it's not seen performing out in the open, only due to their sex addiction. If you don't believe me, I'll show you a video of outside my window during the afternoon time and how badly humiliated they get from getting rejected from these girls. Then them, law enforcement and all their BFFs come begging me to help them get mistresses and girls to sleep with when I don't agree with it. They threaten to break my car, take oil out of my car, slash my tires, break my windshield, and Kasha Ferozvi uses reward. So he goes, tell the girl I'm going to pay her, like sort of thing. So yes, this is what the story is mainly about. So anyways, the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, yes, so that was the main fabrication and framing that Kasha Ferozvi was doing. You have to understand the fact that when someone is getting framed for a national security crime, it is the same as someone committing a national security crime, mainly due to the effect on people, mainly due to the effect on mental health that it has on people. Okay. So yeah, the same thing goes with someone like Ibrahim the Greedy Framer. Ibrahim the Greedy Framer knew about November 20th being fabricated. He did absolutely nothing about it. After it was fabricated, his mother was being asked every single day, are you sure you saw Hassan commit the crime? Ibrahim the Greedy Framer knew that it was fabricated in his house. He did nothing about it. He knew a government informant had to be hired. He did nothing about it. He saw news anchormen literally frowning on TV, not able to smile on TV for days after November 20th. He did nothing about it. He knew that the early January lies were lies, that his mother had confessed to the government informant. He pushed them forward really aggressively, only to create more scare, more fear against me. Okay, he pushed them forward very aggressively in early January and until February 10th. Okay, then in April he knew that these were a set of lies as well. He pushed them forward really aggressively, only to create more fear, more scare against me to make sure my brain savant could not get freed. These were also found to be lies from the facts and evidences retrieved from the phone conversations retrieved. So then in July, again, he made more lies against me. It just keeps going on and on and on. Ibrahim the Greedy Framer literally made so many lies against me every single day, day after day after day after day after day. Every single time one lie would get caught and the judge would be about to give a verdict, he'd say, "Don't wait. Evidence right here. You can't give a verdict. That's evidence right there. You cannot give a verdict. I've got evidence right here." And the evidence would be fully fabricated each and every single time. November 20th had an evidence. It was fully fabricated. Early January had evidence, fully fabricated and confessed to the government informant before November 20th. Early April had evidence, fully fabricated, found out from the facts and evidences retrieved from the phone conversation retrieved. July had evidence, fully fabricated. And all of these things had evidence that Ibrahim the Greedy Framer showed. And as soon as the judge would be about to give a verdict, Ibrahim the Greedy Framer would say, "Evidence right over here. You can't give a verdict. Evidence right over here." And at the end of the day, we would find out that the evidence was completely fabricated. So yes, just because someone shows evidence does not mean it's real. Every single evidence that Ibrahim the Greedy Framer gave were always completely and totally fabricated. None of it was real. In fact, the first one for November 20th was fully fabricated in front of Ibrahim the Greedy Framer's own eyes, with his mother, envious and greedy mother, basically fabricating it with the government informant. January had evidence. It was fully confessed to the government informant by Ibrahim's envious, greedy mother. April had evidence fully found from facts and evidence or phone conversation retrieved, completely fabricated. July had evidence completely fabricated. So yes, just because you have evidence does not mean it's real. Now, the thing about it is, these people have been making false testimonies against me, and you have to understand the fact that I have committed no crimes, never attempted to commit any crimes, never conspired to commit any crimes, and you have to understand and remember the fact that framing someone for a national security crime is the same as committing a national security crime. If you look at Governor Josh Green's face on November 20th, 27th, saying, confusion is the enemy, we have to get to the bottom of this, you realize exactly how much of a mental health effect that these framings have on normal people's lives, that they become scared, they go into a state of fear, and they cannot understand what to say, what to do, only to find out at the end of the day that it was all for the greed and envy of money, or for lust for sex, like how we see for Kashif Ferozvi. And all of Kashif Ferozvi's ads I just showed you, sent through law enforcement, all to force me to go help recruit women for mistresses of Kashif Ferozvi. If, let's say, I have a wife in mind, what do you think my wife's gonna think that it sounds out there recruiting mistresses for someone? Like, this proper, appropriate behavior for anyone? No, obviously not. It's not something I would do at all. It's insane. Anyone who knew me in high school would probably just tell you, like, he's not that guy, man. He's definitely not that guy. Like, seriously. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, these people committed crimes. Kashif Ferozvi committed crimes, okay, by fully fabricating a false testimony against me. And he put it into motion by repeating the word, Ehsan missed this many days of school, over and over and over again, told Kelly from law enforcement would be forced to go sleep with Junaid, which she was refusing to do, due to which they all got caught. Due to the discussion, she would obviously say, no, I'm not going to do this, and they would say, no, you have to do it. And then obviously everyone's under investigation. The government's pissed off. There was a wedding crime that got covered over by law enforcement. They want to know who covered it over. Everyone's under investigation. So yes, everything got heard. Everything's on the record. Now, that was Kashif Ferozvi. Now you have other people. Other people are like Junaid. Junaid, what he does is he has been using basically this trial. So basically the thing about Kelly from law enforcement is she is a very dirty individual, okay? She will do anything for money. So today she got very dirty. This is August 27th. I was watching my own video on YouTube on August 27th, 6:51 p.m. And this is the ad that Kelly from law enforcement put on my phone. YouTube, basically, 5 dirty positions woman craves so much, basically to try to seduce me into going with her. This is not too old. This is from today. This is August 27th at 6:51 p.m. These are the kinds of ads that Kelly from law enforcement basically puts on my phone to try to seduce me towards her. To try to get me to go with her. Obviously, she doesn't look anything like that girl. She's really thin-faced. She has a double chin, and her hair literally looks like a mop. Now she's got braids on. So yes, a stick figure body, literally looks like 2 sticks walking when you see her walking. Yes, that's what Kelly looks like. And yeah, I could describe her from top to bottom, mainly because I met her at outside the Russian consulate in DC, and also due to the fact that she told me on July 1st, do you want to come see me at Food Line right now? I've got braids now for my hair. Like, I couldn't care less. But the fact of the matter is, these people are all working on greed. You just saw it right there. Kelly does anything to try to recruit me. I've got a neighbor right over there, right next door, and Kelly, the things that she does is literally just yesterday, she would do things like, the neighbor is like a married woman, she would have her dog bark, and at the exact moment the dog would be barking, Kelly would be touching the front bottom part of my penis to try to let me know that she's about to walk by my balcony in scantily wearing clothes, so that I'd be seduced by her and I'd be willing to go and sleep with her in order to make up with Kelly, so that Kelly could increase her chances of being able to run after me. These are the kinds of things that people are doing for money after artificial intelligence has labeled my brain savant as being literally the most rare and profitable in the world. Obviously, there are no theories against it not being, since it was tested for 6 hours on August 9, 2022. What artificial intelligence is basically able to calculate everything, how powerful it is, how much it's grown, everything about my brain savant in a 6-hour time period on August 9, 2022. It's unarguable, undeniable for them and for me, mainly because I tested it for 6 hours and they saw it for 6 hours through artificial intelligence brain scanner. So yes, these people are willing to do anything for that money to try to seduce me, including Kelly, obviously. So now the thing that we have to really talk about is the fact that committing a national security crime is the same thing as basically framing someone for one due to the fact that it has the same mental health effect on people that would hear about it. You saw that on Governor Josh Green's face on November 27th, where he goes, "Confusion is the enemy. We have to get to the bottom of this." He wasn't talking about the vaccine confusions, even though that's what he was supposed to be talking about on CNN that day. Now, the thing that we have to really understand is the fact that, so the thing that we really have to understand is the fact that they're all using the trial for basically sex or for money. Obviously, Kelly is using it for money, and you see it very clearly today at 6:51 p.m. on August 27th, where Kelly is basically trying to seduce me in any way, shape, or form possible. So yes, now let me show you. All right, so basically that was that. Now, thing with Gasha Ferozvi, obviously, we cannot go with every single one, so we're just going to do the ones from today, August 27th, 11:13 a.m., and that is misplay. Help me play around with these mistresses. Tell them I'm going to give them some money if they do. August 27th, 9:32 a.m., and this one is misplay. Help me play around with these mistresses. I tell them I'm going to pay them for this. He needs to get smacked across the face by one of these girls' dads. Like, seriously, this is, like, ridiculous. So, if I was their dad, I'd be pissed off. Like, my daughter's not a prostitute. Please stop saying this. Like, seriously. 11:27, August 27th, at 12:02 a.m., p.m., afternoon, misplay. Help me play around with these mistresses. Same thing, August 27, 12:02 p.m., and it is Trade Esports. Help me play around with these mistresses. Psychopath is what this man is. So yes, we're just going to do the ones for today. So that's good enough. You get the point. Gasha Ferozvi is working on basically for the lust for sex from my English teacher, Miss Hopkins. All of his talking points were given to him by her. He might say like, "Oh, this person told me about his time missing school," or this or that, blah blah blah. There's no record of me talking to him, texting him, calling him, and he's on the record talking with Miss Hopkins to discuss what the game plan for the fabrication would be, where he would keep repeating the words, he missed this many days of school, and this many days of school he missed, and then all of a sudden, Junaid's listening in the trial, and he has an epiphany. "Oh my God, I just remembered something. Afir told me, his sister told me, that when he missed this many days of school, it was because he committed this crime. I'm so sorry, I just had an epiphany right now." So literally, that was their plan, and Gasha Ferozvi had already put it through in motion due to his mistress, Miss Hopkins, telling him to do this. Now, the thing about Miss Hopkins is, yes, Miss Hopkins is also, right now, as we speak, trying to advertise herself to me while she is doing all of this. So basically, today, August 27th, let's just go with August 27th, since that's today, at 10:30 p.m., even though her ads, Amica, comes on my TV home screen, YouTube, literally almost every other day or every day. So this is today, 10:30 p.m., and it's Amica, basically, because her first name is Micah. So so you see it. Gasha Ferozvi, lust for sex, Miss Hopkins, greed for money. Now you have other people as well. I could show it to you. Obviously, the people like Ibrahim the Greedy Framer, it's just ridiculous. The list just goes on and on. Like, these people are so greedy. Like, they want me to, like, literally give them, like, all my money, marry their daughter, marry their sister. Like, the list just goes on and on. They try to advertise their sister to me in 50 different ways. March 9th, this is an actual picture of a girl resembling his sister right over there. Ibrahim, the greedy farmer's sister, right over there. She resembles her almost identically. March 9th, okay? Then they change up the picture a little bit so that I would try to, maybe I might like her, even though this doesn't look like her, to try to seduce me with her. This is March 11th, to try to say, Hassan, if she looked like that, would you marry her, sort of thing, okay? Then she, on July 18th, when June 24th, brain salon test gets overanalyzed, they say, well, Hassan, if she looked like that, would you marry her? Now, she doesn't look anything like this at all, okay? And then, like, on August 16th, okay, try to advertise his sister to me again, saying if she looked like that, would you marry her? August 18th. If she looked like this, would you marry her? Then they also send me blackmail price tags for millions of dollars to try to say, if we just take the money assurances from you and stop making false testimonies against you, would you let us go then? That sort of thing. No, as in to say, if we let you go, then would you promise us all this money? Like, their list is like inappropriate, illegal actions list. It just keeps going on and on. We don't have time for that. Okay, it's just too much. Everything from incest to greed for money to false testimonies to marry my sister, marry my daughter. How much money are you going to give us illegal assurances for before your brain salon gets freed? That sort of thing. The list just goes on and on. Okay, we don't have all day for that, but law enforcement knows and courts know. I'll just show you one, being one that they sent me for a lot of times, okay, basically $60 million price tag 8 times since February 21st, and this is March 5th. It was refused to them on February 21st, and yet right now, July 30th of last month, it was $64.5 million. Yeah, so the list just goes on and on. Now, the thing that I had to talk about were other people on this trial who have been blackmailing me for price tags. Sorry, not price tags of money, but to try to force me to go and get them all these girls for them to sleep with. Okay. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So that is pretty much what it is. So basically, Junaid has been, so this is like really recent. He's been sending me August 24th at 7:11 p.m. This is supposed to be Jiffy Lube. Pretty much just saying that he's going to take oil out of my car. And then it is August 24th, 1:20 p.m. He's basically saying, can you go recruit your English teacher for me? It says go together on there. If you read right there, it says go together on there. It says recruit your English teacher for me so I can go sleep with her. And then when I would refuse, he would obviously say, this is August 24th, he would say 1:18 p.m., Tupac Shakur murder trial, as in, I'm going to murder you. You can ask law enforcement, they'll tell you. And then also, Rasputin, since apparently I have mystical powers, I've been called Rasputin, that they're going to murder me, basically. Yes, and then, or they threaten to hurt me using Wolverine, like right over there, okay, and, yes, slash my tires, right over there, slash my tires. You could look at the woman's face. She's got her slashed tires, and she is really worried in the range because she's got slashed tires. That was August 19th. 1:28 p.m. And so, yes. And then it was also a murder threat. This is August 18, 11:38 p.m. This is one last kill. Punisher, one last kill. Read it carefully right on there. It says one last kill. Right over there. Okay. So it says one last kill. So, yes. And then it just keeps going on and on. Yes. And so the thing about Junaid is his main motive is basically sex, and he's trying to get me to be recruited to go and basically frame other people's daughters into sleeping with him and if I don't comply with this demand, he threatens to take oil out of my car, puncture my tires, slash my tires, break my windshield, do things of that sort of nature, even to murder me, even though he's already broken my car, the front under part of my car, on between June 3rd and June 8th. So he's already committed vandalism to try to send the message he means business, and if I don't comply, he will do something to my car. But obviously, I'm not going to do anything of that sort of nature. I also know for a fact these people don't care that people are watching, and since they were watching between June 3rd and June 8th only 2 months ago, and they still broke the front under part of my car. So yes, yeah. So basically, Junaid is using this trial as leverage to try to force me to go help him with his sex addiction problems by getting girls who are hearing artificial intelligence experts discuss my brain savant with the honorable judges of this trial to be recruited for sex for Junaid while using this trial as leverage against me. I'm going to continue in 1 second.